I'm going to move the chair a little bit. There we go. I swear every time I make this format, it always gets to be a little bit tedious. Tree. There. So, good morning and happy hump day, everyone. I can't believe I almost forgot the day of the week. Let's get to my low, my high, my act of kindness. Well, both my low and my high are kind of intertwined. See, yesterday I got to go see another wrestling match at Corning. But by like just a few minutes, I missed one of the matches I wanted to see. Like, if I had just arrived like maybe 10 minutes sooner, I would have seen that match. So, I'm bummed. But from what I heard, the kid I wanted to see won. Actually, I was there to see Horse Heads Modified Wrestling. You know, a few future prospects. And there were two wrestlers I wanted to see. I was able to see the second match that I wanted to see. They were literally, both matches I wanted to see were back-to-back. It also doesn't help that both wrestlers I wanted to see were, like, the lightest weight classes available. And if you don't know how wrestling works, is they start with the lightest weight class and they go up to, you know, the heaviest in terms of matches. So, you know, that's what happens. But I still had a lot of fun. It was great watching. It's been great watching wrestling again. I missed it. Seriously, at some point, it's going to come to a moment where I'm like, you know what, I want to get back to wrestling again. I'm not turned 35 years old. There isn't a wrestling, as far as I know, there isn't like a wrestling thing for adults. Well, maybe there is. If there is, I certainly don't know. Maybe somebody could fill me in. And my act of kindness was, so yeah, my low is I missed pretty much the first match and a half I wanted to see. My high is I got to go to see wrestling at all, which is great. And my act of kindness was the instant I got back to my folks' place, I took out their garbage for them, turned on their Christmas lights. What else did I do? I think that's about it. So it was a pretty productive day. So the other day I was hearing something that kind of shocked me, and it wasn't until I watched the Grand Line Review, Grand Line Review yesterday that it was confirmed. But well, for those of you guys who don't already know, I am a One Piece fan. You know, I've been watching. I saw the 4Kids dub when it first came out, but I really started watching the anime again in 2010 and started reading the manga in earnest also in 2010. And for those of you guys who also don't know, I am a voiceover acting junkie. I love voiceover. In fact, voiceover would be my dream job if I could do it. So whenever you hear news of someone in that industry either sadly passing away or retiring, it's pretty big news. Pretty significant news. Some of which is quite regrettable. Which brings me to today. Recently, the Japanese voice actor for Frankie in One Piece, Kazuki, announced his retirement. Now, much like the other voice actors in One Piece, he also had several roles prior to doing Frankie. He was a Django in the Sarah Village arc and he was also Bon Clay in the Alabasta arc. But it was when Oda heard Kazuki Yao's voice doing those characters. Ichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, designed the character for Frankie to be played by and voiced by Kazuki Yao. Like, to my knowledge, this is the first time that a fictional character, well, an anime character or a manga character was created to be voiced by a certain song. I mean, modeling characters or designing characters based on people really isn't anything new. I mean, the original design for Superman was based on Douglas Fairbanks. The design for Hal Jordan as Green Lantern was Paul Newman. Even recently, the definitive design for Nick Fury was Samuel L. Jackson, which is even cooler that they got Samuel L. Jackson to play Nick Fury. The point is, modeling characters after real-life people isn't anything new. But it's the first time, to my knowledge, that a character was designed to be voiced by a particular someone. I mean, we never really think about, for example, Rob Paulson as a Yakko. Like, you never think, okay, Yakko was designed, who should voice? You just think, like, okay, that's Yakko Warner. What does he sound like? Well, he sounds like Rob Paulson. Like, the characters came first, then the voice actors. This is the first time where literally the reverse happened. And from the time he started voicing Frankie, Kazuki Yao just nailed it. So, when he announced his retirement, it was shocking. But for a reason I'll explain in a minute, it will be very understandable why. One Piece has been on the air since 1999. 25 years. The youngest voice actor in the Straw Hats is Akemi Okamura, who voices Nami. She's 55 years old as of right now. And she was a veritable unknown before One Piece, meaning the entirety of the cast around her were all veterans, including Mayumi Tanaka, who voices Luffy, who is actually age 69 right now. She was best known for voicing Krillin in Dragon Ball. And speaking of Dragon Ball, Masako Nozawa, the voice of Goku. She's 88 years old, and she's still voicing Goku in Dragon Ball Daima, which is a series I'll get into eventually which is something I'll talk about eventually, during these videos. I mean, here's the fun fact about Masako Nozawa. She's been in the industry since she was 3 years old. Her first acting role was in 1939. She was acting during the Second World War. Needless to say, that woman has set the bar to impossible feats that no voiceover actor will probably ever reach, Japanese, American, or otherwise. Which brings us to today, talking about Kazuki Yao announcing his retirement. I mean, if you see him in recent photos, he really doesn't look very good. Like, he looks thin, he looks kind of disheveled. And he announced his retirement because, and I'm paraphrasing his words here, he can no longer voice Frankie the way he knows Frankie should be voiced. And that's the thing. Like, with this new remake of One Piece being produced by Wit Studio, it bears the question, like, what kind of cast do we want to see? Because a lot of the Japanese voice casts right now for One Piece I already mentioned Kazuki Yao. He's 66 years old. Mayumi Tanaka, who voices Luffy, 69 years old. And even some other veterans, like Ike Otani, who's actually not only the voice of Chopper, but she's also known for voicing Pikachu. Or Yokiro Yamaguchi, who not only voices Robin, but also in Pokemon, she voices Nurse Joy. I mean, they're all veterans in their own right, and they deserve all the praise in the world for everything they've done. Not just for One Piece, but for voiceover acting in general. So when Kazuki Yao announced his retirement, there's a lot of questions coming up. Thankfully, Kazuki Yao says, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, we found a super replacement for Frankie's voiceover actor. I'm sure you guys are going to love him. That's a Frankie scene, just super like that. Okay. In fact, I actually learned this watching Grand Line Reviews video yesterday, but whenever Kazuki Yao was ever out and about, like eating at like a restaurant or something, he would always drink cola because his character Frankie drinks cola. If people saw Kazuki Yao drinking cola, they would know Frankie. That's a dedication to the craft right there. It's just crazy. I mean, here's another example. Katsuhisa Hoki voices, he was originally the voice of Gekko Moria, but he also voices Jinbei. Like, he's 78 years old. I mean, you guys probably can figure it out by now. Voiceover acting isn't really that, taxing on the body. It doesn't put you through physical hard labor. It doesn't, it doesn't put stress on you outside of knowing when your next gig is going to be, which is one of the reasons why I'm terrified of voiceover acting, because, I want to voiceover act, but again, it's not a very stable industry unless you land a long-lasting gig. But if you're able to do it, you can do it for many, many years. In fact, I keep bringing up Mayumi Tanaka, who's the voice of Luffy. She said in an interview 4 years ago, when she's done voicing Luffy, that's when she's going to retire. And unfortunately, One Piece isn't really going to end for another, probably, bare minimum 10 years. Which brings up another thing. With the cast of One Piece being as old as they are, it's quite possible that this series of One Piece will be over, and some of the current cast may not live long enough to see the ending. In fact, Mayumi Tanaka even tried finding a replacement for voicing Luffy should she ever pass on before the series is over. It's something that we all think about, We never think, it's not until we realize that, okay, we're getting old, what do we do now, that we don't think about the future like that. So, I mean, when Wit Studio premieres The One Piece, which is the remake of the series, I mean, well, first of all, obviously I hope it's good, but really? I mean, I can see some of the cast of this series of One Piece doing different roles in in the One Piece coming out in 2025, being produced by Wit Studio. But in terms of the main cast, I think they should just start off with entirely different people. I really think that's the safest way to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think that's what they should do. I mean, personally, I'm wondering how Funimation's going to take this. Because, I mean, listen, I'm looking up the names of the Japanese voice cast right now. I can name every single member of the Straw Hats Funimation cast member. Jinbei, David Bowe, Brooke, Ian Sinclair, Frankie, Patrick Stites, Nico Robbins, Stephanie Young, Chopper, Rena Palencia, Sanji, Eric Vale, Usopp, Sunny Strait, Nami, Christian Lucci, Zoro, Chris Sabat, and my favorite character, Luffy, voiced by the great Colin Clinker. Oh, everyone in Funimation could be considered the greatest. Don't know why I disregarded Colin. But Colin Clinker voices Luffy. Like, a part of me is wondering, how are they going to take this? I mean, listen, if they remake the One Piece for English, well, if they're holding auditions, you better believe I'd sign up for it. That'd be pretty cool. A One Piece fan getting to voice a character in his favorite in One Piece, that'd be so cool. And maybe that'll happen someday. But to Kazuki Yao, thank you for everything you've done. You know, I'm certain that this was not an easy decision for you. I wish you a long, happy, healthy, and safe retirement. And I have all the faith in the world that whoever replaces you as the voice of Frankie will, of course, be super. Thankfully, in terms of the story of One Piece, I mean, Frankie he fought Sasuke during the raid of Onigashima. He doesn't really have any major story beats in One Piece during the Egghead Island arc, outside from a moment here or there. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. But again, Kazuki Yao, thank you for everything you've done. Hopefully I pronounced right. Arigato gozaimasu. And I probably pronounced that horribly. And your work, Kazuki Yao, your work has not gone unnoticed. And it's greatly appreciated by not just myself, but every One Piece fan out there. So thank you. I hope you all like this video. If you like this YouTube channel, my social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video for all you guys watching. Enjoy it. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And remember, if you guys want to talk to anyone, you're here to let me know when you're back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.